Okay. Yes, good afternoon, guys. Okay, so if you guys are doing good, um, let us continue the discussion on DC voltage regulators. So we are discussing about different types of regulator circuits. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we discussed the basic operation of voltage regulator and parameters. And there is line regulation, road regulation, and ripple rejection, which determines the performance of a um, voltage, these voltage regulators. Okay. So what are the mm, of course, I think we didn't discuss this numerical problems. Let us quickly, yes, look into the numerical problems to understand the design metrics, design factors, which will ultimately um, affect the performance of a the DC voltage regulators. Okay, here we go. Uh, just a second. So many people are joining, so that's why I'm waiting. Because yeah. Okay. Okay. So yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So design of a DC voltage regulator. The DC voltage source uh, from earlier example is okay. So these are the given values. Just a second. Okay. From the earlier example, the value of Vs Vc is 12 volts. That is supply voltage. VCC because that is applied as a voltage to the op amp. That's why it is VCC. Okay, and the output voltage is 6.3 volts. That means ZNR voltage or output voltage should be at 6.3 volts. Okay, and R1 is the 270. What is R1, guys? It is a voltage divider resistance. That is 270 ohms. D1 is 1N750, which is a ZNR diode, and current maximum is 42 milliamp because this maximum current determines the ripple in the output. So more the current, more is the ripple content in the output voltage. Okay. So if the supply source resistance is 25, that is RS is 25. But he is on the Ilfan Goda, na? Ilfan Goda mute ಆಗ್ತೈತಾ? ನಾನು mute ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಲ್ಲ. Mute ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ? Okay, thank you. Here we go. Mute ಆಯ್ತು. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the supply source resistance is 25 ohms. Okay, determine the three factors, regulation factors: lane regulation, load regulation, ripple rejection. Okay, so straight away determine the performance parameters of a DC voltage regulators. Okay, yeah. So so ZZ, see for a given, this in fact this will also be given in the problem, numerical problem. This factor, because this impedance of the Zener diode should be read from the data sheet only. So we can't remember the impedance of so many diodes. Okay, so and we can't even find out. This will be given in the data sheet. So for a line regulation, 10% change in Vs. Okay, so Vs is 12 volts. 10% of 12 volts is 1.2 volts. So change in output voltage, that is for line regulation, change in output voltage for 10% change in the supply voltage can be determined as delta Vs ZZ divided by R1. So substituting the value, we'll get it as 31 millivolts. This is the change in the output voltage. So from that, we have to find out the line regulation. Yes, okay. So line regulation is 10% change. There is nothing but 31 millivolts into divided by 6.3 volts. There is nothing but the output voltage. So into 100, because it's very small value. So in terms of percentage, it is 0.5%. Okay, line regulation. Okay, because what is the inference from this value? What do we understand from this value? So line regulation, as the name suggests, 10% change in output the supply voltage result in change in the output voltage. Okay, so ratio of that, see, delta V naught supposed to be minimum for maximum change in the supply voltage, ideally. Okay, so that means this should have been theoretically it should be 0. It should be 0% theoretically, but practically what happens, it's not possible. So though it's supposed to be minimum or least possible value 0, but still we are getting around 0.5%. That means still there is some change in the output voltage for every change in the for every 10% change in the supply voltage. Okay, so around 0.5% change in the output voltage, 0.5% regulation, line regulation, because of the change in the output voltage for every 10% change in the supply voltage. That is known as, they should be ideally 0. Line regulation should be theoretically 0. But practically it varies, because all practical circuits are nonlinear circuits, and practical situation is practical variation is different from theoretical considerations. Okay, so for load regulation, we consider the Lmax. It is 42 milliamperes. Other values are constant given. So from that we get a change in output voltage as 27 millivolt. So load regulation is change in the output voltage for the maximum change in the load current, that is 42 milliamperes. So it is around 0.4%. Again, this should have been equal to 0. This should have been equal to 0%. But still, line regulation exists. That means output is changing because of the change in the load current. So load current changes because that depends on the load requirement. Okay, so as the load requirement changes, the load current also changes, which changes the load regulations. So for ripple rejection, we have to consider VRO in terms of VRS. It is around 25.9 into 10 power minus 3 VRS in terms of VRS. So when we take the ratio of that, there is VRS to VRO. So this VRS cancels in the numerator and denominator in this equation. So it is a constant value now. This two cancels, and in decibel it is 31.7 dB. What should have been this factor is ideally VRO should be 0. Ideally it should be 0. This should have been very small value. In that case, this should be infinity. Ripple rejection should be very maximum value. Okay. So higher the ripple rejection, better is the performance of a DC voltage regulators. Okay, here we go. Okay, so type of a DC voltage regulator, adjustable output regulator. Okay, that is output voltage can be adjusted because, as I said, in many of the applications we want, let us say, plus 5 volts for example, it is a microcontroller based applications, plus 12 volts DC. All these are DC volts, or minus 12 volts. Sometimes we require even plus 30 volts, something depends. For example, for a stepper motor or DC motors experiments, we require this kind of voltage ranges. Okay, how to obtain these variable voltages? Okay, so for that, this is the arrangement. If you remember, guys, in the earlier circuit diagram, this capacitor was somewhere here. The capacitor was here. So this is the other possible arrangement. So here we have a resistor R3 in place of capacitor, across which there exists a voltage VR3. Okay. So what this voltage equal to? So we know that the op-amp is acting as a voltage follower circuit. So the input voltage is VZ, input voltage is VZ, output voltage is also VZ. Okay. So now this output voltage will appear across the the output network. There is this network, because output is given as input to inverting input terminal. That's also equal to VZ. Okay. So inverting input terminal VZ, that means at this point to ground. From this point to ground, the voltage is VZ. The voltage is VZ. Okay. So voltage across R3 is approximately equal to VZ because of the feedback, because of the voltage divider network. Okay. So now, okay. So in this case, divider network R2 and R3, is used to make V0 greater than VZ. That means we can increase the value of V0 by using additional resistance R3. It acts as voltage divider network. Okay. So further we can control using instead of a simple connection, simple junction, we can include one resistor here. That is this point. Yes, this junction can be a potentiometer. That is the middle terminal of a potentiometer is given to inverting input terminal. In that case, what will happen is this is a resistance R4. In such case, we have more flexibility. By varying this R4, we can adjust the voltage applied to inverting input terminal. Okay, so if the pointer is towards R3, VZ decreases. If the pointer is away from R3, that is the other end of the R4 resistance, VZ increases. VZ increases. That's how we can control the output voltage. So we can adjust the output voltage. Okay. Otherwise, in the absence of this potentiometer, we can achieve output voltage larger than VZ, because this acts as a potentiometer. Differential voltage is applied. Actually, differential voltage when applied, output voltage will be 0. Output voltage is 0. But whenever the input voltage changes, output voltage also changes. So thereby we can achieve the voltage divider. Okay. Guys, one more thing is that if you observe this network, it is no more a voltage divider network. We have R2 and we have R3. That means it acts as a non-inverting amplifier. Voltage is applied to this non-inverting input terminal. It is as good as, say, imagine that this acts as a short. This is connected to R2. Okay, R2 R3, and the junction is given as input to inverting input terminal. So this is nothing but if you consider this as a something like this non-inverting configuration. So this is VZ, that is output of the across the Zener diode. This is we have R2, and this is the junction, and from this R3 and ground. Okay, so this is R2, R3. Okay, so this is nothing but a non-inverting amplifier. Non-inverting amplifier, the gain is closed loop gain is equal to 1 plus R2 by R3. 1 plus R2 by R3. Okay, that means output voltage is at least greater than input voltage. In this case, it is VZ. Okay, we can achieve output voltage larger than input voltage by using a non-inverting configuration. Very simple. Okay, but if you want adjustment in the output voltage, we have to go for a potentiometer. Very simple. So in the absence of this R3, the circuit acts as a voltage follower circuit. Op-amp acts as a voltage follower circuit. That's it. Okay, so that's the okay. We can quickly go through these statements. I'll check if any point is missing. So the simple voltage can be modified. What happened? Sorry, suddenly this page open. Sorry, suddenly this document. Okay, anyway. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yes, before that, just a second. 62. Just give me a second because I want to. Here we go. Okay, so okay, so modifying the voltage follower circuit to produce output voltage larger than the input voltage, that is Z0 voltage. So voltage across R3 is always going to be equal to Z0 voltage. That we understood why, because inverting input terminal is at Vz, and then so voltage across R3 is also Vz. If VR3 were to be greater than Vz, the output op-amp output would fall, thus reducing output until VR3 again equals to Vz. Okay, so what the author is trying to say here is that if in case, let's observe this, the point is like this. If let's say for example, if VR3 increases, let us say VR3 is greater than Vz, so this point is VR3. Okay, then because the inverting input is increased, output voltage decreases. Output voltage decreases. When the output voltage decreases, VR3 decreases. Very simple. When VR3 decreases, difference of these two voltage, output voltage increases. When output voltage increases, VR3 also increases. That means the op-amp will make sure that the output voltage of op-amp is such that the inverting input voltage remains equal to voltage VR3, which is either greater than Vz, okay, which is greater than Vz because we have non-inverting configuration always, so that the output voltage is always, that is this V0. This V0 is always greater than Vz. This V0 is always greater than Vz. That's how it is maintained. Okay. Even if VR3 increases too much, it makes sure that it will decrease, and it balances the voltage at the inverting input terminal. Okay. That's how it is. Op-amp can do this, and that's really so good thing of a op-amp, because it has a differential input, which is not possible in a normal BJT transistor, because BJT transistor does not has a differential condition, differential input, whereas op-amp has a differential input. Okay, so if VR3 drops below Vz, the op-amp output moves in a positive direction because differential voltage is positive. It moves in a positive direction until VR3 equals to Vz again. Okay, VR3 is made equal to Vz. So that this point, guys, this point, op-amp output tries to be equal to Vz. This op-amp output tries to be equal to Vz. But because of the non-inverting configuration, V out can be made greater than equal to Vz. Very simple. So that's how it it works. Okay. So next point is okay, Vz again. Okay, because there is a precision relationship between V0 and VR3 defined by R2 and R3. The output voltage is maintained constant by keeping VR3 equal to Vz. Okay. Of course, VR3 can be maintained equal to Vz, so that output of the op-amp always remains Vz. When used in a voltage regulator, the op-amp is referred to as error amplifier. Okay, because it amplifies any error in the output to keep the output stabilized at a desired level. Okay, so this error voltage is nothing but the what you call the difference voltage. So whenever VR3 changes, that difference is error voltage, which is adjusted by the output of the op-amp, such that output voltage always remains at Vz. Output of the op-amp always remains at Vz. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So VR3 is equal to Vz at the inverting input terminal. So V0 is given by Vz into, is a non-inverting amplifier. Okay, it is a 1 plus R2 by R3. So output voltage can be made adjustable by including a potentiometer R4 between R3 and R4. Okay, that we discussed. The design procedure for the circuit is same as already discussed with the addition of potential divider network. Okay, so as we adjust the potential divider network to and fro, in this direction or in this direction, we can adjust the voltage across the this network. Okay, if the voltage reduces, if the resistance decreases, voltage also decreases. If resistance increases, this it is the relation R is equal to V by I. Okay, so if resistance decreases, voltage also decreases. If resistance increases, voltage also increases by using the adjustable resistance, that is a potentiometer. Okay, yeah. So performance of this adjustable output regulator circuit, considering potential divider network also. So Vz is multiplied by R2 plus R3 divided by R3. There is non-inverting amplifier gain. Okay, so so any variation in Vz will be multiplied by the same factor to determine the output voltage changes, because the gain cannot be ignored. This factor cannot be ignored. Okay, so change in output voltage is delta. Earlier it was only delta Vs Zz divided by R1 because there was no resistance. Now because of the voltage, there is a gain factor. We have to consider R2 plus R3 divided by R3. There is 1 plus R2 by R3. All supply voltage changes, whether due to line voltage regulation, load regulation, ripple voltage, can be substituted into equation to determine the. Okay, because the only thing is the performance remains the same in terms of mathematical expression, except this factor. This factor has to be in addition. It can be considered. Yes, in fact, if you observe this, all the three numerator and denominator is a constant factor. In fact, this complete factor is a constant. So multiply the delta V naught by some constant factor. That's all. Okay, in the earlier, regulation calculations. Okay, I think there's a numerical problem. Design voltage regulator to produce an output voltage 12 volts with a maximum load. Okay, this in the earlier problem. Modify the earlier problem. To 12 volts. Okay, with the maximum load current of IL max of 50 milliamperes. So with the 12 volts, okay, there is Vs minus V naught plus 3 volts. Yes, this we had understood, in the earlier class, that this difference is 3 volts. In this diagram, uh, this is output voltage is 3 volts less than the Vs minimum. I mean to say this one. So this is the Vs minimum. This is Vs minimum. This is the output voltage. This gap is 3 volts. This difference is 3 volts. 3 volts. Okay. So with this difference in voltage, okay, so 3 volts is the difference. Yeah. Okay. So then what should be the Vs minimum? Okay. So Vs minimum is V naught plus 3 volts. That is 12. It's around 15 volts. That is Vs minimum should be 15 volts, so that V naught is maintained at 12 volts. V naught is maintained at, that is 12 volts. So VRS 2 volts peak to peak. Okay, the supply ripple content is 2 volts peak to peak. So VS is VS minimum plus VRS by 2. That's average. VRS by 2 is average. Okay, so it's around 16 volts. Supply voltage is around 16 volts. So with supply voltage of 16 volts with a ripple content of 2 volt, okay, so we can calculate the this supply, that is input voltage, that is Zener voltage as Vz off of V2 approximately. Because why approximately is because this is the, in this network, supply voltage across Zener diode. Okay, this is approximately now 16 volts. This is 16 volts. This is taken as half of the supply voltage, Vs by 2. Vz is equal to Vs by 2. For that, we need to select the appropriate value of R1. So by selecting R1, we can select set Vz to half of Vs. Of course, we can change that also. 1/3 of Vs, all that is possible. So it is around 8 volts. Vz is 8 volts. So for 8 volts, we have to select a Zener diode which has a reverse voltage of 8.2 volts. Okay, here the selection of the Zener diode is important because it should give a that particular, because we have a Zener diode for 5 volts, for various ranges, it is available. So Zener diodes, because what is Zener diode? Is Zener diode when it is conducted in the reverse bias condition. Okay, so the voltage across Zener diode remains constant irrespective of increase in the input voltage. Okay, so that Vz is specified for a given Zener diode. Okay, so for 8 volts we have to select a Zener diode which has a reverse voltage of 8.2 volts. So is it is 20 milliamperes from the earlier formula. We can find out Iz as 20 milliamperes. So from this R1 is equal to 390 ohms, because R1 is important, because R1 is proportional to Vz. Okay? So R1 is important. So 390 happens to be a standard value. Calculated value is a standard value. Okay. So from this, okay. So what we should select I2. So now in this case, we have to select the value of this. Okay, here we go. How to select the value of R2 and R3. Now we have to design the value of R2 R3. Okay. Yes, in this case, this I2, what we can see, this current I2, this I2 is flowing through. This I2 will flow through R2 and R3. Okay. Of course, it will split into this network also. That is to the inverting input terminal. Okay. Yes, what is the maximum bias current that will flow into an op-amp? For example, in fact, in this numerical problem, 741 op-amp is considered. For a 741 op-amp, maximum input bias current IB max. Let me write here. IB max is equal to maximum is, yes, any idea, guys? Maximum bias current is 500 nano amperes. 500 nano amperes. Okay. So this current, say, this current I2 is very large quantity. Okay. Let us take, for example, say we have series pass transistor, so it is amplifying the current. Output current of the op-amp is maximum of 25 milliampere. This current 25 milliampere itself is larger than the IB max. Above that, Q1 is going to amplify the current. So this I2 is very large. Compared to I2, IB max is very small. So this current, this current, if I can use another color, this current represented in arrow in green color, it is very small compared to this current I2, which is in terms of milliamperes. So this current can be almost neglected. So with that assumption, we can assume that current I2 will flow through R2 and R3, because this current is very, very small. This this path of this current in this path is very, very small. So thereby, okay, so now what happens is that how to select this R2 and R3? If you select R2 and R3 based on this current, 500 nanoamperes, so what will be the formula, guys? For resistance R is equal to V by I. Okay. So if, in other words, I is equal to, in terms of current, V by R. So if current is very, very small, that is 500 nanoamperes. For a 500 nanoamperes, if we design the value for R2 and R3, R2 R3 requirement will be very large. Resistance required will be in terms of mega ohms. Imagine, divide by 500 nanoamperes, it is in terms of mega ohms resistance. Okay. So, and moreover, we have limitation in terms of resistance because it will increase the current dissipation in the circuit. And hence, what we have to do is, we have to assume this current I2 to be greater than Iz or IB max in this case. Okay, IB max, so that the current is larger and hence resistance requirement is smaller. So we have to design the R2 R3 for I2, not for IB max. Okay, so that is the understanding. That is the reason why in this case there is assumption that I2 is assumed to be larger than IB max. Yes, okay. Of course, this point in the textbook author has not separately explained, but okay, it's understood. It's a straight away concept. There's nothing surprising about that. Okay, by what value? I2 is assumed to be at least 100 times IB max. It's not given in this in this step, but it is given in the David Abel book. Since it is in this Ramakant Gaikwad book, it's not given, but it is sorry, this is the David Abel only. But it is given in the earlier chapters. So author assumes at this point is that we know how do we get this value. We get this value by multiplying IB max with 100 IB max. We assume that this I2 is at least 100 times larger than IB max, so that R2 value can be reduced. R2 and R3 can be reduced. Okay, so 100 into 500 nanoamperes gives 50 microamperes. somewhat better, at least, at least it is somewhat okay. 50 microamperes. Okay. So we assume that in the numerical problems you guys when you design also, you can direct straight away you can assume I2 to be 50 microamperes, no problem. You can write this expression and you can assume, no problem. Okay. So from this, what is R2? Because for R2, if you observe this position of R2, where is R2, guys? Yeah, here it is. One end of R2 is VZ, correct? At this point, because voltage across R3 is VZ. This end is VZ, this end is V0. That is out, correct? Of course, it is V0 because output, at this point is, the voltage at this point is V0. Okay. So difference of these two voltages, that is V0 minus VZ divided by I2, that is equal to R2. Very simple. R is equal to V by I, where V is the difference in EMF potential, potential difference. Okay, this is the formula. 76.4 kilo ohms. Okay, so standard value is 68 kilo ohm. I think by now we know how to calculate the standard value. So we are taking lesser value. It is safer, because. But now when we take less than 76 kilo ohm, as there is 68 kilo ohm as a standard value, the problem is I2 value changes, because I2 we had assumed it to be 50 microamperes. So thereby we have to recalculate I2 using the same formula, as I2 is equal to V0 minus Vz divided by R2. Now R2 should be taken as 68 kilo ohm, not 76 kilo ohm. So if you use 76 kilo ohm, we'll get back 50 microamperes. Okay, so 68 kilo ohm here. So we get I2 as 55.99 microamperes. Slight change in the current, because this current is used in the next step. So this recalculation of current is very, very important. Okay. So from this modified value of I2, R3 value is calculated. Okay, R3 is nothing but Vz divided by I2, because our assumption was that same current I2 will flow through R3 also. Okay, same current I2 will flow through R3 also, and hence voltage across R3 is Vz, current is I2, R3 is equal to Vz divided by I2. Very simple. Vz divided by I2. Very simple. Okay. R is equal to V by I formula. Okay, so it gives the value as what's the value, guys? Where it is, yeah, here we go. Okay, so R3 is so 147 kilo ohms. Okay, so standard value is 150 kilo ohm. Why 150? Why more value? Because nearest standard value is 150 kilo ohm. Okay, but still let me check the guys. There is a standard resistor table, standard resistor and capacitor table. I think 5% tolerance should be okay. Under 5% tolerance, what is the resistance, calculated resistance value? 147 kilo ohm. Okay, for 147 kilo ohm, 147, yeah, here it is. Okay, let's observe. 147 lies somewhere here. 147 kilo ohms. The smallest value is 130 kilo ohm. Next value is 150. If you select 147 kilo ohm, what will happen is R is equal to V by I. Okay, if R is reduced as 130 kilo ohms, V also reduces. That should not happen, because if this differential voltage reduces, if this voltage VR3, if VR3 reduces because R3 is taken as a small value, this difference voltage increases and output voltage increases. That should not happen. Okay, so to maintain output voltage very close to the input voltage Vz, we have to take R3 as 150 kilo, the nearest higher standard value, 150 kilo ohms. So that is very clear. There's a simple understanding. Okay, so what is next is we have to select the value of capacitor. That is 150 microfarad. We can straight away select. We need not calculate. Q1 specification. VC maximum. For Q1, Vs maximum. Okay, so from this we get 70 nodes. IE is equal to IL load current. That is because this is for the transistor selection. Okay, so for this series pass transistor design, for the selection of series pass transistor. Okay, to select series pass transistor. So first is the collector, VC max, voltage across collector to emitter. That is Vs max. There is Vs plus VRS by 2. That is it was it was around it is around 70 loads. IL is there is emitter current is load current, that is 50 milliamperes, because load current is given. So what is the power dissipation? VC into voltage into current, voltage across collector, emitter, and the load current. It is approximately 200 milliwatts. So for this power dissipation, we have to select the transistor. Okay. So for this, suitable is 2N718 is a suitable place. In the test or exam, this value of this, the power calculation should be sufficient, because if this power requirement varies, the transistor selection also varies. Okay, and we cannot remember, various transistors for various power requirement. That's not the issue. Okay, so this is a complete design base. Okay, so we have calculated the values of, R1. We have selected the Zener diode for a requirement of 8.8 volts, actually 8 volts. This D1 has a reverse voltage up to 8.2 volts. Okay, if something less than this, we cannot achieve 8 volts. So it should be at least more than 8 volts, so that it can give at least 8 volts. Series pass transistor selection, R2 design, R3 design by using value of I2 as 50 microamperes, selection of C1, and the output voltage is maintained at 12 volts. That's okay. So this is about the adjustable output. It is not actually adjustable, but output voltage is greater than the VZ, because this VZ is 8 volts, correct? Output voltage is 12 volts. That means V0 is greater than VZ. In the earlier design, V0 was equal to VZ. V0 was equal to VZ. That's okay. Fine. So that's how it is. Okay. So that's about analyze the regulator. Okay. Yes, let's not. Let's go through this problem. In similar lines, maybe regulation calculations. Okay. The regulation is much smaller. In this numerical problem, if you go through this, regulation has further reduced. That is the important factor here. Regulation has further decreased. That's the okay. It becomes okay. Fine. Okay. LM. Okay, I think we have in the syllabus IC voltage regulator. Yes, let me check once. I think IC voltage regulator is also is part of the syllabus. Current voltage, sorry, voltage regulators. No, regulator adjustable LM317, LM337 integer. Okay, yeah, we need to discuss this. So that's why I have taken a scan of regulators. Okay, yes, the regulators what we discussed now using op-amp is available in the form of a IC. Okay, that is called as IC regulators. There are many regulators, but the syllabus suggests 2 regulators. In the textbook you find many. Okay, but the syllabus suggests LM37 and LM337. If you can see the syllabus, 317 and 337. Okay, 2 regulators. Okay, so let us look into the details of this regulator IC. LM317 and LM337 regulators are 3-terminal devices that are okay. Guys, let me check whether this picture is given, because you must have seen the regulators in the yes, something like this. Okay, let me open the browser. Let me show. You must have seen in especially those who are working with embedded applications like Android devices and like Arduino boards. You must have seen these regulators, voltage regulator, of course, voltage regulators. Yes, I'll show you. You must have seen this. In many circuits, you find these voltage regulators. I want to see this. This one. Here it is. I don't know whether I can zoom this image. I mean, do I get a bigger image? Oh, yeah, something like this. This you must have seen this regulators. Okay, wherever there is a necessary of conversion from AC to DC, there will be what is known as a regulators. Okay, first AC to DC is converted using rectifier circuit. Okay, there is a diode rectifier circuit. that is further stabilized using voltage regulators, which are called as DC voltage regulators. Okay, it's a 3-pin device. You can see that, pin number 1 gives the adjustment, in terms of voltage regulation. Pin number 2 is the output terminal. Pin number 3 is the reference voltage, input terminal, input voltage. There is supply voltage Vs. Pin number 3 is Vs. Pin number 2 is output voltage V0, which gives a stabilized DC content, DC voltage. Pin number 1 is the adjustable terminal. We can adjust the output voltage by using additional network, of course, additional circuitry we can adjust. Okay, so I wanted to show you this because you must have seen in practical hardware circuits. I'm sure you must have. Okay, yeah, it looks something like this. Okay, extremely okay. So 3-terminal device that are okay, easy to use because easy to make connection on the. You can actually fix it on breadboard. It's very easy to make connections. So 317 is a positive voltage regulator. I think it is given in the yeah, here it is. 317 is a positive voltage regulator, and 337 is a negative voltage. What is a negative voltage regulator? Guys, output voltage will be negative. Okay, so there is a negative voltage regulator, because as I said, sometimes we require both the positive and negative voltages. Plus or minus 50 volts, for example. Okay, or plus or minus 12 volts, plus 5 volts. We want only positive voltage. In that case, we can go for a 317 voltage regulator. Okay? Because when we say DC, we may require positive voltage or we may require negative voltages. Okay. So in that case, these positive and negative voltage regulators are good choices, are default choices. In each case, input and output terminals are provided for supply, regulated output voltage, supply is Vs, input voltage, regulated output voltage, and adjustment terminal. Included for output voltage selection. Okay, there is variation of output voltages. Output voltage ranges 1.2 volts to 3 volts. Okay, as I said, we can set it to 5 volts, 12 volts. Okay, 1.2 to 3 volts, 37 volts. Sorry, and the maximum load current ranges from 300 milliamperes to 2 amperes. But also we have to understand that as the current varies, the ripple content of the output also varies, increases, of course, depending on the device package type. Okay, fine. So typical lane load regulations are specified as 0.01%. There is volt output voltage, V0, and 0.3%. Okay, so lane regulation is 0.01%. Load regulation is 0.3%. Yes, if you observe this lane regulation, it was around 0.4% in the earlier worked example. It was 0.4%. It is very high. But this IC voltage regulators gives lower lane regulation. Ideally, this could have been 0. Lesser the lane load regulations, better is the performance of the regulators. Okay, so the internal reference voltage for 317, 337 typically 1.2 volts, because they need reference voltage with respect to which it's going to operate. And we reference pairs across adjustment terminal and output terminals, so that using that as a reference, the output voltage can be adjusted. So regular output voltage is equal to Vref into R1 plus R2 divided by R1. Okay, so using this we get the, let us look into the circuit diagram so that we understand what are these R1 and R2. Okay, so in this positive voltage regulator 317, input voltage is Vs. Okay, input pin, out of 3 pins, input pin is input is applied to input pin Vs. Across that, the scene is connected so that it acts as a filter. Additional filtering is possible at this stage, so that DC is applied to the input terminal. Adjustment terminal given with R1 and R2 and a capacitor. Okay, so further voltage adjustment is possible, and output voltage is obtained at output terminal. Again, capacitor is used so that it acts as a filter. If you use capacitor here, it will allow only AC. If you use a capacitor here, it will allow only AC here, so that it will allow DC to the output terminal. Very simple. Okay. Now, this is positive voltage regulator. For a negative voltage regulator, if you can observe, the same thing is connected, but this negative voltage, output voltage is negative. So when the output voltage is negative, so output voltage, see, with respect to output terminal and the ground, this point is ground. In this positive regulator, this point is ground. Okay, so we are measuring output with respect to ground, output is positive. In this case, output is measured with respect to ground and output is a negative voltage. It gives a negative voltage. And what will be the adjustment voltage? Adjustment voltage will also be negative because output voltage is negative. Adjustment voltage for the regulator is also negative. Okay, so that's how the R1 and R2 connected. Okay, somebody is on the ring. So the I don't know is Ashwin, Ashwini ಯಾರು ಅಂತಲ್ಲ whether I can mute ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ ನೋಡೋಣ. Okay, here we go. Okay. So so depending on R1 and R2, we can obtain the adjustable output voltage. If you can observe here, So depending on the R1 R2 selection, we can, and reference voltage is constant, 1.2 for a regulators. So it is V0 depending on the values of R1 and R2. We can obtain a variable stabilized output voltage. Okay. So to determine the values of R1 and R2 for desired output voltage, the voltage divider current, just like we discussed the current for op-amp circuit. So depending on this current I1, okay, so R1 and R2 values are selected because without current I1 we cannot select, without any current in I1, I2 or whatever it is, we cannot decide the values of R1 and R2. Okay, so I1 is selected to be much larger than the current that flows into adjustment terminal with the same assumption. I1 is larger than the current flowing into adjustment terminal. So with that assumption, R1 and R2 is selected. Okay? So this is specified as there is I1 is equal to 100 microamperes. Okay. So for this 100 microamperes is what specified on the data sheet. Okay, so we have to select I1 as 100, assume I1 as 100 microamperes. Based on that, we have to decide the select the values of R1 and R2. So resistance are calculated using the relationship given in equation 1390. That is this is the equation. Okay, so when you know the current, from that you can find out the values of R1 and R2 because output voltage is known. The idea is output is known, V reference is fixed, so current is known. Then we can find out the values of R1 and R2. Okay, so that is something like this. To find out, we know the current as 100 microamperes maximum. So this point is V0. Okay, this point is this is voltage, adjustment voltage, reference voltage. So based on that, we can find out the value R1. Similarly, R1 and 2 can be calculated. The capacitor included in the regulator circuit, capacitor C1 is necessary only when the regulator is not located close to the necessary only when the regulator is not located close to the power supply filter circuit. Okay, that means if it is the regulator is not very close to filter circuit, then C1 is necessary because C1 will provide the additional filtering operation. So C1 eliminates the oscillatory tendency that can occur with the long connecting leads between the filter and the regulator. Okay, with this one C1, if you observe this, let me go back here. This C1 guys, this C1 helps in preventing the oscillation of the op-amp inside the regulator circuit, because if op-amp starts oscillating, it is difficult to minimize the oscillations of the op-amp. So thereby, to prevent the oscillation, these capacitors are used as part of the stabilizing circuit. Eliminates oscillator, okay, with the long connecting. Okay, so capacitors C0 improves the transient response of the regulator and ensures stability. Okay, that is output capacitor C0. And C adjustment improves the ripple rejection ratio, because this one is used to help improve the ripple rejection, C adjustment, because we know that ripple rejection should be maximum. So maximum ripple content should be rejected at the output terminal of output voltage. So this C adjustment is capacitor is used. Okay, so figure shows. Okay, fine. Let's one simple example. I think is it simple. Okay, let us look into this 317337. Okay, but what is this 340? Okay, this part is not there, this content is not there. So with this problem, the this unit should end. Let's complete this. It's very simple problem. 317 regulator provides 6 voltage output, 15 volt supply. The load current is 200 milliamperes. Determine the resistance R1 R2 and calculate regulator power dissipation. Okay, so current I1 is I1 should be assuming that greater than adjustment. I adjustment is for a this regulator is 100 what is that case milliamperes. Microamperes. Sorry, for I1 is 100 microamperes. Correct. I1 is 100 microamperes. So I1 is 100. I adjustment. Sorry, I adjustment is 100 microamperes. So I1 should be larger than 100 microamperes. So 1 milliampere is given. Okay, load current. So for I1 of 1 milliampere, R1 is Vref divided by I1. It's around 1.25 kilo ohms. Standard is 1.2 kilo ohms. 1.2 kilo ohms R1. Similarly, R2. For R2, see, for R2 there are two references. Okay. For R2, one end is the V reference, okay, and another end is the output voltage V0. This end is V0, this end is V reference, okay. So thereby R2 is V0 minus V reference divided by I1. V reference is for a LM317 and 337 regulators. It is what do you call 1.7 volt, 1.25 volts. So R2 value is 4.7 kilo. Standard value is 4.7. This in standard value, lesser value is selected because it is very close. Okay, that's why lesser value is selected. Lesser value selection is not the universal condition or assumption. It should be very close to that value. In that, lesser is preferred as long as lesser is the closest value. Power dissipation in terms of voltage and current, V0 minus Vs into IL. Okay, there is a load current. V0 is 50 volts and Vs supply voltage is 6 volts. Okay, because in this case you can observe that it is adjustable voltage regulator. That's why V0 is greater than Vs. Okay, in a non-adjustable normal regulator, V0 will be equal to Vs, which is equal to Vz. Actually, it's not even Vs. Vs is wrong. V0 is equal to Vz in that case. Okay, V0. But in this case, V0 is greater than Vs. That means definitely V0 will be greater than Vz. Understood? This is quite obvious. So 15 volts minus 6 volts. Load current is 200 amperes. Okay. Power dissipation is 1.8 watts. Okay, that's how it is. So that's how we can design a that's why whenever we have a this kind of regulator in the practical circuit, wherever we have this regulator, these circuits will be given along with these regulators. So for example, for L1357, this is the standard circuit. So these values of capacitor, see, in fact here there is no C adjustment capacitor, not necessary. It is not necessary always. So C1, C2 values are fixed. We can straight away use this value. Similarly, R1, R2 is also, because it's something like this, you select a, choose a, what you call, voltage regulator, see the corresponding circuit, make the connection. We need not design R1 and R2 until and unless the output voltage is too different from our requirement. That's all. Okay. So these resistor, this diagram, these circuit diagrams, these values are all standard values. You can see that V out is equal to 1.2 volts into 1 plus R2 by R1. Okay, plus I adjustment into R2. So these values are standard. If you select a different regulator, for example, in this textbook, one more regulator is discussed that you can see here, which is not in the syllabus. That's why I have not scanned the complete content. LM340. For LM340, look at this guys. There is no. It gives a fixed voltage. There is no question of adjustment. So output voltage will vary from 5 to 30, 23 volts. That's how it is. Okay. So depending on the regulator, this circuit diagram also changes. This circuit diagram changes. Accordingly, we can make the connections. So in our case, of course, in the theory concept, the design is given so that we can appreciate, the selection of these components for a particular design. Yes, okay. Because with this, this unit is completes. There is, DC voltage regulators. Okay. Next, we'll start the signal generator. From the next class, we'll start the unit 3 signal generator. So we are going later slow because a lot more discussion. Possibly we may have to speed up. Let us see. Okay. Yes. So from next class onwards, we'll start the third unit. So the attendance is okay, 62. Fine. That's fine, guys. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Stay safe. Take care.